new gameplay of another game. This is also a submission for the Otome Jam 2023, in which I have looked over the submission and found that this game is pretty interesting. I think this is kind of a dark fantasy type of theme with a single love interest, and we come back to the current theme of single love interest after choosing that. So that's interesting. This is, I think it's a short game just for the jam, but it looks very good, and I'm excited to see what it entails. Let's go! What remains of us? Let's go. Press enter or left click to continue. What pronouns do you want them to use? So because my pronouns are she, her, so I'm going to use that. But everyone can choose between he, him, they, them, and she, her. That is fine. Ooh, I really love the animation actually. Wowie. Her name is Lost Your Time. Give her one. I'm going to keep their name as Divina, their default name. The name is very good actually, I like it. It has an interesting tone to it. 30 generation vials, 10 fire mollies, 5 bird shots, 20 smoke bombs. You tap your fingers against the glass of the second shot. It's getting a bit cloudy now that you're actually looking properly. You'll have to wipe it clean soon. 1, 5, 7, 11 bottles of snake oil, 15 bottles of disinfectant, 40 lozenges, a couple boxes of bandages and such that you're much too lazy to count, and finally, 20 tins of white flower bomb. Luckily for you, there's still enough stock for 4 more days until another batch is in order, but you're running out of salts faster than expected. Which of course means you will have to spend the rest of the morning grinding herbs again. You groan and scribble down a reminder in your journal. Harvest herbs, make the salves, bottle them, and label. Wait, when was Bolo going to pick up his tonic again? The front door jumps open followed by a soft click of it, closing shut. You scoff. Good heavens, did people not know how to read? You're sure you flipped the sign over more than 10 minutes ago. Though you suppose it is their own fault for not having locked the damn thing. You ignore it. If it was so important that they come in after closing time, then they can very well figure out on their own how exactly to get your attention. You have work to do. You flip through the last pages of your journal. The thing's at least a few months old now. The edges of the binding are frayed and the paper is littered with strands and creases from the trips out to gather herbs in the forest. You drag your finger underneath the lines, hoping it will help you decipher your words. Monday? No, that was Pablo's pickup for the poison, not Paulo's. A page flip later, you find what you were looking for. There, in your absent-minded straw. Saturday, midday. You really should improve your writing. You still. No, he shouldn't be here. Why is he here? Your finger curls, scratching and tearing the paper underneath it. Even from here you can hear his breath. Hear the will of the word flow through his every inhale and exhale. You crave to place your hand over his chest, to feel his lungs expand and strain against its hollow cage. To curl your fingers underneath his skin and tear flesh asunder, until all that's left is his damned soul, destined for a world so much greater than this, yet still here all the same. But you lost that right long ago. His breath was never yours, never even his to begin with. His heart is turned away. beating in time with another. His soul is his and his alone. You force yourself to relax, finger uncurling and leaving a broken gel in its wake. You raise your head.
What are you doing here?
He's staring at you, disdain clear in the quiver of his eyes. There's something else there too, something that you can't quite place. Not right now. Pain clouds whatever is left of your judgment. Even now, anger is an easy escape. It opens its doors for you at every turn. The familiar stew of bitterness loops into your hand like a horn blade. It hums in search of blood. Charity work. What am I doing here?
What am I doing here? What are you doing here? This is my shop. Matter of fact, it's closed if you haven't noticed.
You laugh, disbelief coloring your voice. Ooh, we have a voice acting. I love it.
Your what?
He asks, taken aback. Slowly he scans the room around you. Realization dawns on him in a cold rush. Oh, that's real nice. I don't have to voice myself. I mean, voice our protagonist. What am I talking about? Yes, I don't have to voice Jiben actually. That's nice. Also, a lovely voice, everyone. Satisfaction slithers up your spine. It isn't a win, but it's good enough.
I see you've lost the ability to read as well. My name's on the sign out front. Or were you too busy staring at your reflection to notice?
Well, you could have decorated better. Are you sure you're alright staying in a place like this?
His face scrunches up in disgust. To your horror, he devolves into a fit of shoulder-rattling coughs. Blood splatters on his lips and collar. He winces, fingers tension at his side. Oh, whoops! There's a warning. There's a contents warning. Actually, let me check. I should have set that content warning before we start this, but later is better than never, right? So the content warnings are blood, swearing, mouth suggestive themes in which you have saw the blood. Okay, continue. Your eyes flicker to the movement, retort dying on your tongue. You don't know how you didn't notice it before, but there's blood there. Lots of it. He grimaces at your attention, but doesn't bother to hide the injury.
Did they send you here, errand boy?
You cry down, slowly making your way over to where he is. After all, this is your damn shop and you cannot let some stupid stripe die on your watch. He laughs bitterly but doesn't dine you with a response. You look up at him. He's staring at your hand, eyes hazy and face casted in shadow.
I'll take that as a no then.
Yes, take that as a no. You curl your fingers around his hand and gently pry it away from his body. His palms are covered in blood. The cloth of his blows is torn, and where it isn't, it sticks to his torso from sweat.
What did this?
You murmur, hand hovering over the wound. Some of the blood has dried but is bright red and angry, and your breath hitches in your throat. Black tendrils spread down from the gash. You can't see how far they've gone underneath his clothes, but you look up at him again. Salvi stares back at you, his breathing shallow.
You idiot. You should have told me sooner.
You hiss.
Forgive me. I was rather preoccupied.
He snorts. You shake your hand, and before you can think twice, point to the doorway leading to your living room.
Sit down on the couch. I'll be with you in a moment.
He purses his lips. You ready yourself for a retort, doubt how you dragging him by the ear, but nothing comes. His eyes are tender in a way that you're too tired to name. It unnerves you far more than it ought to. He shakes his head as if to discard the thought and gives you a brief nod.
That couch better not be moldy.
Go. Before I have second thoughts.
You roll your eyes. By the time you finish closing up, Salvi's already sprawled out on your couch, sweating up a storm. Oh wowie! Oh, I know it's a bad situation. There's a lot of blood and that black tissue and stuff, but it's also a nice scene. I'm very sorry, but it is kind of a nice scene. Oh dear. At some point he's taken off his top and shoved it underneath himself. The bleeding has mostly stopped, but the cloth thankfully catches most of the stragglers.
What the hell happened to you?
His eyes are closed and his brows are drawn in sharp discomfort. If his breathing didn't possibly even itself out upon your injury, you would have mistaken him for being asleep. You roll up your sleeves and kneel at his side. Now that he's shirtless, you can better see the damage. It's exactly as you expected. The gash is bright red with spots of black where the poison first spread. He's tried his best to keep his breathing even, but now that he's attempting to speak, it comes out strained.
Mononongal attacked me. I was trying to get past the damned swamp by nightfall, but...
He breathes out. Ooh. Yeah, that wouldn't actually look worse in the situation since we can, like in his fight right now.
Shut up.
He eyes you, indignant. Still, he remains blessedly silent. His breathing evens out once more.
Reserve your energy. You can tell me more about how you royally fucked up later.
You nod in approval. You take out a vial from your hip and stare at the bright green liquid inside. Do you tell him? If this will hurt. You flick your attention back to him. He's staring at the vial, but his gaze is far off. He should recognize it, but nothing. You're not sure if he's just tired or if the poison gets into him. Either way, you don't have time to waste.
Shit.
What?
His brows draw together in confusion.
This will hurt.
You pop the bottle open and pour the contents straight into his injury. He screams. It stirs as a grunt and morphs into something guttural and animalistic. It takes everything in you to keep pouring. Yeah, I can see the black spots going out. His left hand grasps desperately at the back of the sofa. The fright finds its way to your shoulder and digs into your flesh. The last drop falls into his open wound and you turn your focus to prying his hand off of you before he injures you as well. It takes longer than expected, but soon enough, he's clutching at your wrist instead, body breathing like a dying roach. After a minute, the wound begins to bubble, black blobs of liquid rising from the gaping hole and sliding down his torso. It takes 5 minutes before the screaming finally stops. Dobby's eyes are closed. His whole body is covered in sweat, chest heaving and arms still shaking from the residual pain. You make your way to stand up and fetch him a cloth, when you realize he's still clutching onto you for dear life. Wait, actually, cloth or clothes? Whoops. Take his hand off, or stay with him. Well, I mean, let's stay with him just a bit. He needs you right now, more than he'll ever care to admit. You sign and sit back down. Gently, you pry his trembling hand from your wrist so you can hold it in both of yours. It is rough and calloused, so much more damaged than when you last left him. What happened to him? What happened to them? If Salvi was here, Dante shouldn't be far off. And if Dante wasn't here? After a moment, he stops trembling. A few minutes later, his breathing evens out. You place his hand against his chest. He does not wake. Does he? He does not. You stand up slowly, careful not to jostle him as you back your way over to the sink. You mutter a quick incantation that gets the water flowing, and soon enough your basin is filled. You have it by your hip and grab a clean rag and some soap on the way back. You drop by his side and begin cleaning him off. His skin is pliant underneath your hand, and it comes to you then that this is the first you've ever seen him out of his stupid little outfits. He's always been easy on the eye, though you'd rather die than ever say that to his face. It's not the first time you've understood why Dante kept him by their side for so long, and you know that it won't be your last. By the time you finish wiping him off, taking care not to linger too long, the basin is then dark red with a mixture of his blood and Mananango's poison. First you thought you were just imagining it, but further inspection proved you to be right. His marks are gone, both of them. And if the lack of a large self-sacrificing imbecile barreling through your door tells you anything, it wasn't entirely consensual. You lean back and sigh, the weight of the past hour's events finally sinking in. You press your palms against your eyes. Your own hands stand red from his blood.
Shit.
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like something's changed. Like earlier we have this poison on this right side and the left side of the screen, like the lower one. But now we have something different. That's interesting. You wake up to early morning light and purr against your skin. Sleep is still nestled deep in your bones, but you blink it away and wipe the crust from your eyes. Try not to once as last night's events come back in full force. Ooh. Okay, he looks much better without wounds. Gentle hands against the skin. Tender touches that betray years spent together. You try not to think too hard about it. The wound is still too fresh. You prop your elbows up behind you and try to sit up, only to be met with a searing hot pain in your side. You hiss, nearly biting down on your tongue.
Idiot.
You look up to see Divina staring down at you, unimpressed. She rolls her eyes and pushes you back down with a light shove. It hurts at first, but laying down is indefinitely better than what you were trying to do.
Don't move. I can't believe I have to tell you this. Did traveling with Dante teach you nothing?
You're shite at telling. Shut up. You huff. Heavens, she makes it so easy.
Shut up!
You bite back. All goodwill from last night shoved to the back of your mind. She doesn't even have the decency to try and look offended. You don't know how she can do it so easily. Gods, you feel so effing small. You stare off to the side, bitterness rising up your throat.
Why are you here?
Can't a man waste away in peace?
Not if it's you. I'll haunt you to the grave. Tell me, why are you here? Shouldn't you be by their side, writing whatever the hell it is you do about their adventure?
He snorts.
I told you to shut up!
Silence. You keep your eyes averted, hoping that she takes it as a sign to leave. She doesn't. The next time she speaks, there is barely contained anger bubbling underneath the surface.
They left you, didn't they?
For all your supposed education, you truly do not know how to take a fucking hint.
They left you to fend for yourself, and now you're here on my fucking couch, injured with goddamn necrotic poison.
She barrels on. Your hackles raise.
I deserve it! I know I fucking deserve it, so could you do us both a favor and shut up?
You croak, throat sore from last night's screams.
No.
I know I'm a nuisance. Don't have to rub it in. Just... I'll be out of your hair soon enough. Please.
A sob erupts from your throat. Even more silence. Despite everything, you know she is still there, hovering. Like a goddamn specter of everything you lack.
Is that what they told you?
You don't answer. You feel so damn tired. She is silent again, contemplating her next words. Good. The master would do with a bit more thinking before she speaks.
What? Are you going to tell me I'm wrong?
Ria's house.
I'll talk to you again later. Go rest for now.
Somehow, it hurts more than if she just sat nodding. You ladle the porridge into a bowl, careful not to spill any. You're going to have to eat the same food for a few days until Selby's body fully recuperates. Thankfully, you quite like the taste of porridge. Thank you. You look behind you at the couch. His hand peeks out from the back, tapping eagerly to some imaginary beat. You realize after a moment what beat that it is. Gloved hands, gilded mask, the swell of music reverberating in your ear. Ooh. Wait, is this Divina or is it someone else? Selby leans in, mask off and laughter caught between his teeth. He's half bathed in shadow, the moonlight on the balcony casting him in an ethereal glow. From here you can smell his cologne, can practically taste the sweetness of his skin.
You're quite the dancer. Which?
He smiles, teeth bared.
Even better than you, I'd wager.
You smirk. Okay, it is Divina. Wow, they look pretty. Both of them.
Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
He laughs, voice devoid of the pain you all accrue over the years. For a brief moment, you forget how often he makes you want to stitch his mouth shut.
Well,
snort.
I'm certainly ahead of you.
You snort. Behind you, someone chuckles. You cannot see them from your position, but you know they are there, watching.
Shit. I did horribly.
They hop out of breath and it is followed by the clink of glass on Mabel.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Dante. You did quite well tonight.
They stepped on my toes 3 times. I'll have to put salve on them in the morning.
But they didn't step on the Countess, did they? They were exquisite on the dance floor, if I do say so myself. Not much of a loss.
It toots. You roll your eyes but concede. He was right after all. As long as there is steamed as though, guardian of the sun, chosen of the Almighty, drunk all the right rich bastards, then the night was in their favor. Just thinking of their titles already makes you want to plunge. You know that this is needed, that getting supporters will help in your quest. Salvi has expanded far too many times and you do actually listen. Thank you. Still, you just wish you didn't have to see so many people. I did too, like their next meal. Exotic, those Castello had murmured, and it took everything in you not to not catch them on the spot. Salvi runs his thumb in soothing circles along your hip, always perceptive to your anger simmering just below the surface.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Footsteps approach from behind and soon enough a pair of hands joins Salvi's at your hips. You lean back into the solid weight of Dante's chest and grin as they press a kiss behind your ear. You suppose it is a comfort to know that at the end of the day, they both return to you. Oh, I thought there was only one love interest. Or, well, I mean, this seems like the past, so we were kind of a bully over here, maybe? I'm not sure. Interesting. I did not expect that. Oh my. They are yours as much as you are theirs, whatever that entails.
You're so beautiful. Both of you.
They murmur, just loud enough for Salvi to hear it too. You revel in the way Salvi's hands tense against you. His throat pops, the red flush of his ears peeking from underneath his hair. You half expect him to leave, to admit that this was far too much for him to handle. He doesn't. You watch with bated breath as you expose your neck, as Dante kisses a trail along your collar. Interesting. His eyes, though. He looks kinda sad. That's interesting. You wait for him to look away. He doesn't. It's best not to linger on the memory too long. You were young and stupid and all too daring for your own good. No matter how much you want to, it's not as if you can return to what you had.
Food's ready.
You call out.
Is it porridge?
His hand stirs before quickly resuming his tapping. You make your way over to his side and deposit the bowls on the coffee table. His eyes are sunken and his skin still pale from the blood loss. Then again, it's hard to tell when someone's skin is a sickly gray even when healthy. You press your hand against his forehead to check his fever, and thankfully find that it's mostly receded by now.
Taking advantage of my illness to touch me, which...
He grins, but it is pain and weak. The adrenaline high of yesterday night has faded, leaving him a pathetic mess on your couch.
It's enough to make a grown man blush. That is, if I had any more blood to spare. Unfortunately, I'm rather injured at the moment.
You roll your eyes and pick up his bowl. Even in this state, he still can't find it in himself to shut up. You scoop up a spoonful of porridge and flow to cool it off.
Does it have the little chicken bits in it?
No, those are mine. You're still sick. Best you're getting is a few scallions and some ginger.
You stare at him over the spoon, unimpressed. He purses his lips and thankfully doesn't raise any complaints. For someone who's spent over a decade of traveling the continent, he sure is a picky bastard. Once the porridge is sufficiently cooled down, you lower the spoon to his lips. He gobbles it up greedily, entirely too happy to not have to feed himself. You snort. What did he do to you? Are you ready to talk about it?
So...
You scoop up another spoonful of rice. He continues to chew on the porridge you fed him. After a moment, he swallows.
So what?
Dolby looks up at you, the very essence of innocence. It irritates you more than you like to admit. What you do to swipe that look off his face.
I'm not good at this.
You sigh, dropping the spoon back into the bowl. You admit.
I see we've acquired some self-awareness in the past 3 months.
He grins. You roll your eyes and pick the spoon back up to begin flowing at it. After a while, his grin falls off, attention elsewhere. His hand has stilled, no longer tapping that familiar beat. It's odd to see him like this. You press the spoon to his lips and watch as he opens his mouth and swallows it.
Are you ready to talk about it?
You ask softly, the same way one would speak to a spooked host. He drills, his gaze still far off until finally, he looks at you.
May as well rip the band-aid off, correct?
He chuckles, the discomfort clear on his features. For all he speaks of love and heartache, it truly is an art to try and cause from him matters of the heart. It's not something you're particularly good at, despite your years spent together. Most of the time, the three of you just stroked it in the jar and hoped the lid was tight enough to keep it shut.
Take your time. I'll be here.
You start to blow at another spoon as he gears up to tell his story. You murmur. He glances at you, a soft and genuine smile on his lips. You don't feel as if you deserve it,
Thank you, darling.
he mutters.
For what?
For being here.
You're the one who crawled into my shop looking like a newborn babe. Thank fate, not me.
You look at him nervously. He laughs, eyes sprinkling at the sides.
Still, you didn't have to bother taking me in and cleaning me, feeding me even. You could have just given me the potion and been done with it. Thank you.
He mutters.
Sal.
You start choosing your next words carefully. You're my friend or you're welcome? It's a good question. I'm not sure if choosing you're my friend is like putting us into friend zone or not. You're welcome. Yeah, let's go with that first.
You're welcome.
You smile, hoping that is enough to tell him it's no bother, really. You press the spoon against his mouth, gently nudging his lips apart.
Eat up. You'll have to drink water and some tonics after this.
Do I really have to?
He crinkles his nose.
Unless you want to live a rotting corpse, yes.
Oh my.
You're right. I'm too pretty to die.
Okay, yeah, you're too pretty to die, I guess. He sounds as if carrying the weight of the word.
That's not what I said.
Are you sure? Sounded like it to me.
Sniffles. Very confident of his look, I guess. You wait until he's halfway done with the bowl before finally popping the question.
What did they do to you?
Stalby Joe's staring at the spoon halfway to his mouth. You place it back in the bowl. He sends you a dirty look, but there's no real bites behind it.
Can't you let a man finish eating first? Besides, are you so sure it's them I'm so bent over about?
He huffs.
Because their opinion is the only one you ever seem to care for.
His expression morphs to one of genuine contempt, brows drawn and lips pursed. He opens his mouth as if to say something, but decides against it. He looks disappointed, somehow.
Well, it's not.
Then what happened?
He remains suspiciously quiet.
Salvi?
Okay, fucking hell, fine. Because of that moronic oversized twit. You happy now?
He throws his hands in the air. You blink slowly, taking his outburst in stride.
And what exactly is it that Dante did this time?
Hey.
Stalby chokes on air which quickly devolves into heaving coughs. You rub his shoulder as he lets it all out before offering him a glass of water. Halfway down you see that he's begun to cry. The poor salt. You take the cup from him and deposit it on the table. It takes a while for him to regain his bearings. Yet the tears remain.
They've had enough of me, apparently. Ever since you left, they've been so high-strung. I know it's not your fault. I understand your choice, and I don't blame you for it.
Chuckles sardonically. You nod slowly, opting not to comment.
But gods, after all my years with them, I know not to expect much, but it's too much. Gods, it's too much.
You raise your hand and place it against his cheek. He leans in, letting you wipe away his tears with your tongue.
It can't be you. You cannot replace the hole you've left in their heart. They know this. We both know this. I stopped practicing magic for them. You know how pathetic that makes me feel. You stood up against the council, left before they could influence you further, no matter what we thought. Yet, here I am. 5 years without magic, on the verge of being snuffed out of existence for an imbecile who doesn't even want me back. A person who can't even look me in the eye as they tell me to fuck off because I've outlived my usefulness.
laughs again, almost hysterical.
This war is over, Salavi. There are no more tales to tell. Go, you are no longer needed here.
He mouths.
As if I hadn't willingly walked into this over a decade ago when they summoned me. As if I didn't choose to stay.
Your face contours into one of displeasure. Unfortunately, you're not surprised. This is entirely in character.
And what am I supposed to say to that? Okay, Dante, thank you for having me in your service for 15 fucking years. It's been a good run. Adios.
He laughs, breathless. His hand clenches and unclenches like he's itching for a fight.
I took my hand for the first time in what felt like ages. Next thing I know, I was back in that damned forest all those years ago. It is so much harder to break our contracts than it is to create them, and they just... not even telling me.
You tuck his hair behind his ear and watch intently as his breathing begins to even out.
I never even told them I loved them.
His voice cracks. He closes his eyes and lays back even further into the billows. You're not sure if he realizes it, but he's begun to nuzzle the back of your hand. You're an idiot. You purse your lips, righteous anger simmering in the back of your mind.
They're an idiot. Always has been.
You say matter-of-factly. Zouheikyoku chuckles. He always did give them the benefit of the doubt far more than they deserved.
I'm right, you know.
I do.
15 years together, and this is what they do to you? They don't deserve you.
You scoff. He stirs, cracking both eyes open to look at you. There's an aching smile on his lips that reaches in between your ribs and pores. It makes you want to do things that you shouldn't do, if only to make him feel better, even just for a moment.
If they don't deserve me, who does?
Your tongue weighs heavy in your mouth. He's challenging you. You know this. When you don't rise to meet him, you're not sure who's more disappointed. Two days later, you're feeling significantly better than you were before. Divina is nowhere to be seen, probably either gathering herbs again or making potions and salves at the front desk. Though you're not exactly sure why she's still doing it so late. It's already past sundown. And you'll spend the past 2 days in a delirious state of sleep, only waking up whenever your mind decided to give you a response from your dreams. You dreamed of them again, the two of them. You wish you could stay, but there was no point lingering on the past. Lest you end up like the rest of your kind, so blinded by it that they ignore the cruelties of their inaction. And to be honest, you're kind of hungry. She already graduated you to solid food, so she wouldn't fault you for a little snack, right? You rub your elbows up behind you as this time, you can finally stand without issue. Your legs are unsteady, already used to 3 days of lying down and only standing for the infrequent bathroom break. You were only half lying the other day when you said Divina was a shite healer. You press your hand against the bandages wrapped tenderly around your torso. You've definitely gotten better at it, that's for sure. I didn't choose the option for telling her that she's a shite healing though. So maybe it's like default to that? Or maybe he said that the other day. You smile softly, raising your fingers against the places she touched.
What are you doing?
You got caught. You laugh, turning around with your hands raised.
Nothing. Nothing for you to worry or be suspicious about.
That sounds very suspicious, though.
You know that doesn't make you any less suspicious, right?
Whatever could you mean?
He sighs and rolls her eyes fondly. You wait for her to say something, but she is rather busy staring at the couch.
Well, if you excuse me, I'm off to get a snack.
You cough once.
Do you want to sleep with me?
Of course. I'm sorry. Of course. Wait a minute. What is she? Ooh, wow. Let's go. Of course.
Of course. I would love to.
Oh my god. He actually could roll with it. Okay. You grin, teeth and all.
Though I never thought you'd proposition me, do you treat all your patients like this?
What? You know that's not what I meant.
She sputters, indignation clear as day.
Truly? I was quite looking forward to knowing what all the hubbub was about.
You bout. She sighs and begins massaging her temples. Ah, your beloved Divina. Still so bad with words. She crumbles something underneath her breath that you don't bother to even try and hear. It's not going to be flattering for you anyway.
You know what? Forget it.
What? No, my darling. Forgive me.
You gasp. You bounce and reach out to give her a hug in apology, only for your legs to give out from under you. She catches you before you hit to the ground, arms wrapped around your fragile form with what would be a surprising amount of strength. If you didn't have the pleasure of already knowing her.
This is why I told you to stay in the chair, Salvi.
He sighs. You smile impishly and clutch onto them. Them? I think the pronounce is a bit off in the sentence, but okay. Given into the excuse of close proximity.
Does the offer still stand?
Only if you stop being so obnoxious about it.
Oh my.
No promises.
Of course.
This should be a good pause in our playthrough today. Wow. So, the game page actually mentioned the 2 point of view, so we actually saw that in the playthrough. So, switching between the points of view of our protagonist, Divina, and then to Salvi, which is obviously shorter, but it's still there. And it's nice to see the two kind of points of views, what they taught and everything. It's quite interesting. There's nothing much concrete to the story at all, but I like their interactions between the two of them, their love interest and our protagonist. Very fighting, but still quite friendly, I guess. What I have learned from this playthrough is that there was another person, so three of polyamory between the three people, so Salvi, Dante, and Divina. But then something happened that Divina left the group and then left Salvi and Dante, and then now Dante kicked Salvi out, I guess. And so he kind of walked through the forest of dangers and then got hurt in the interest upon her at her shop. So that's the story so far. They are getting to know each other once again, like learning about what had happened. Nothing romantic yet, but the hints are here, so I'm excited for the next playthrough to see anything more, or maybe it's just as the title said, what remains of us. So maybe not that much romance, but more our friendship and feelings. But it's nice either way. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next playthrough of What Remains of Us. Bye bye!